Are you eligible for a low-income grant? Today we're going to go over many different grant programs that exist to help low-income Americans with a variety of needs. As we dive into this, I just want you to know millions of low-income Americans qualify for help that they don't know exists. That's the entire point of what we do here at Low Income Relief, is help people connect with the benefits and the resources and the programs that are out there that a lot of people simply don't know about. Now, another thing that you need to know is that most grants are for specific needs. It is very rare to find a grant program that will help everyone with everything because there just isn't enough funding to go around for those specific needs. So what you will find is a large network of different grant programs, each of which are usually tailor designed to help with a specific need, whether that's going to be housing, healthcare, education, veterinary care for your pets, and so on. And this list that we're about to review is not fully exhaustive. If it was, it would have to be hours and hours long because there's so many different programs out there that are designed to help. So if you're interested in this kind of support, make sure that you subscribe to our channel for more ways to save money and get free stuff. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the list. We've tried to organize this for you today. We're going to start with the grants that you can apply for online relatively easily. So first up, let's talk about Modest Needs. Modest Needs is an organization that helps individuals and families who are working but earn just above the poverty line. These people typically aren't eligible for most types of conventional social assistance, so Modest Needs has stepped up to fill that gap. They also give special consideration to single people with no children, veterans who have been recently discharged, teachers, and first responders who are actively serving in their communities. The average grant received from Modest Needs ranges from $750 to $1,250, and you can apply online at modestneeds.org. Another program that we have found for you is Gradient Gives Back. This is an amazing program because Gradient Gives Back Foundation provides up to 12 months of mortgage or rent assistance to families who are facing unexpected hardships through no fault of their own. Their network of partners continues to expand over time, so they encourage all eligible families to apply. You can apply online at gradientgivesback.com. Another great program is NetWish. NetWish is a little weird. It's not like the other programs that we're going to be talking about today. Instead of a big nonprofit or organization, this is privately run by a successful Philadelphia businessman who wants to remain completely anonymous. Nobody seems to know who is behind NetWish, so make sure that you bear that in mind as you fill out your application and you submit your request for help. Just bear in mind that you really don't know who you're talking to. That being said, there's very little paperwork involved here. Their goal was to cut out a lot of those red tape and hurdles that you see in a lot of these programs. So NetWish will never ask you for bank details. If you're selected, you'll be notified by traditional postal mail. People who have received help from NetWish have reported receiving gift cards through snail mail in this way. You do have a better chance of being selected if you submit a very specific wish. People have received help with Christmas gifts, medical bills, things like that. You can apply at netwish.org. Another great program is Reddit groups. And I know this is kind of unexpected because Reddit is essentially social media. But there are designated subreddits like Assistance and Santa's Little Helper that provide help for low-income people who have specific needs. For both of those, you have to register on their website prior to posting in the group. There's often a requirement that you register a certain amount of time before you submit your request. All sorts of different hurdles are in place there to make sure that these communities that are full of so many giving people are protected from scammers and spammers and people who would misuse these kind of platforms. So there are some specific rules that need to be followed. Some of them are a little difficult. For example, if you're new to Reddit, you will have to use Reddit for a while and build up those karma points and things like that before you're able to request help on these platforms. That being said, you should also know that help is usually capped at $150 or less. You can register at reddit.com. You can go join those groups, but like I said, you will need to have some more experience on Reddit before you can submit those requests if you are new to the platform. And there's all sorts of different ways to do that. That's, I guess, a topic for a different tutorial. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Skip Grants is a platform that I like to use when I'm looking for business grants. This is a very specific platform that is for business grants only. It is open for entrepreneurs, small business owners. You don't have to be a big, business or corporation to apply for this. I'm an independent content creator and I use Skip. Basically, what they do is aggregate business grants from a wide range of sources so that they're easy to find. They also offer built-in AI tools so that you can automatically apply for grants, makes it super easy. I've seen grants on Skip ranging from $500 to over $200,000 in some cases. I would say the average is somewhere under $25,000, but sometimes there's really high value ones, sometimes there's really modest ones. It's a great resource if you're a low income person who is striving to build a business. I strongly recommend building a business as the best way out of poverty. It's what worked for my family. If you'd like to give Skip a try, go check it out at this affiliate link that you see on screen. With that in mind, let's talk about some low-income grant programs as well. Now, as we move into this list, I would like you to bear in mind that most grant programs focus on very specific needs. So if the one I start talking about doesn't necessarily apply to you, just hold on because we have a lot of them in this list. So we have patient assistance programs, and these are fantastic. These can provide financial support and grants to cover healthcare costs, such as medications, premiums, transportations, expensive treatments, if you have a specific diagnosis. These assistance programs are designated for specific diagnoses, and you have to meet those requirements in order to receive help from that fund. Some of them are valued at up to $20,000. So there is a lot of help here. So if you are battling a specific illness or a type of chronic condition or any sort of medical diagnoses, I would recommend that you go check these out. You can find patient assistance programs through several dashboards or portals that help aggregate those for you, including the Patient Advocate Foundation, PAN Foundation, and Needy Meds, and you can see those links for you here on screen. Now, if you have pets, you may be interested in pet care grants. There are all sorts of animal-loving organizations out there that help low-income pet owners afford urgent or essential vet care. There are programs out there that can help you spay and neuter your pets. I have seen organizations that will provide free pet boarding if you're homeless or help with pet food if you can't afford it. So on and so forth, all sorts of resources out there for pet owners. Now, the veterinary care grants specifically usually range from a few $100s to over $1,000 in some cases. Your pet typically needs to have a good prognosis of recovery in order to qualify. They want a veterinarian to say, yes, if this pet receives this treatment, they're going to be able to recover, they're going to heal, they'll get past it, they'll have a good quality of life, and so on. Now, if you're interested in those kinds of providers and resources that we mentioned, you can find a list on our website. You can see the link right here. That's where we're putting all of the information, not only for veterinary care grants, but also spay and neuter vouchers, pet food banks, pet boarding services, anything that's going to help you financially with your pets, you'll be able to find at that link. Now, homebuyer grants are also available, and they're usually marketed to first-time homebuyers, but please don't hesitate if you have owned your home in the past, because typically the definition of first-time homebuyer just means that you have not had an ownership interest in a property in the past 36 months. So if you owned your own home 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago, you can usually still qualify for these first-time homebuyer grants. They usually assist you with your down payments or your closing costs. Some of them are like a flat rate, like $5,000, $25,000. Some are a percentage of the sales price, usually up to a certain amount. We've done our best to make a list of those for you on our website. I am a big fan of these. They helped me buy my first home. We received a $5,000 grant with the purchase of our first house that really helped offset a lot of our costs. So if you're thinking about buying a home, I highly recommend looking into these grants as well. Now, if you already own your own home, you're not left out. There are also organizations that offer home repair grants for homeowners, especially if you're a low-income senior or a low-income veteran and you need help with essential home repairs. These grants can be worth up to $7,500 or more in some cases. Some of them are offered through government programs like the USDA, while others are offered through various nonprofits or charities like Rebuilding Together, for example. Sometimes Habitat for Humanity has programs like this as well. There are tons and tons of local organizations offering these kinds of services, which is why we have that list put together on our website. Now, if you're interested in furthering your education, there are some programs that can assist you as well. I think most people have heard of the federal Pell Grant. That's the one that you can get when you fill out your FAFSA. The maximum award for that is over $7,000 per year. There are other grant and scholarship programs out there as well. For example, the Soroptimist Grant supports women with dependents who are trying to further their education. They award that in several different tiers. So you can get anywhere from $500 up to $16,000 from this program if you apply and you win those various rounds. Now, of course, there are other scholarship programs and grant programs out there. In fact, some colleges, including Harvard, have started offering free tuition if you're low income. So that is definitely worth checking out if you want to further your education. We have details on all of that on our website at lowincomerelief.com as well. Now let's talk about some other organizations that offer help. Strictly speaking, these do, I think, count as grants. Some of the providers we're about to talk about have helped me personally with rent and move-in costs and various things over the years. Of course, it's been a while since I needed that sort of assistance, but I do know that these organizations are very helpful. They will provide that money directly to your landlord, your utility company, whatever bill you're trying to get help with. They are going to give the money directly to that person. However, these can be great resources. So I want to talk to you about the Salvation Army. They can often help with food, shelter, utilities, seasonal programs like Christmas assistance. And the amount of help that you can receive varies widely, right? I've read that some chapters will assist you with up to $200 for your utilities. In my experience, it was capped at $50. If you're homeless, they may be able to help you with shelter or other things. Non-monetary aid is also very common. That's when they directly give you an item like Christmas gifts or school clothes in lieu of cash. If you're interested in getting help from the Salvation Army, you can use the location finder on their website to find your local Salvation Army Corps. Now, Catholic Charities is also a great resource for getting help. They can usually help with rent, utilities, food, and other social services, and you do not have to be Catholic in order to receive that support. However, the assistance that they offer does vary depending on their local agency and the need and the donations they've received. This is often one-time support. A lot of times you cannot go back for help if you need more help later. You can find your local agency on their website as well. St. Vincent de Paul is another phenomenal resource. You may recognize them from their stellar thrift stores that they have in a lot of communities. They can often offer support with food, rent, utilities, and other basic needs. In most cases, it appears that that help is capped at about $300. And that, of course, is determined on a case-by-case basis as well. I would recommend that you go search St. Vincent de Paul and then your area name. You can also visit their website to find your local affiliate, but I have found that 211 or a Google search is typically more reliable at helping me find the organizations in my area. And of course, there are many states that require their local governments to provide emergency financial assistance to people who need it as well. So these funds can usually cover things like rent, utilities, medications, sometimes clothing or funeral costs, other emergency needs. This aid is highly localized and it's always short term. It's hard for me to get into details on this specifically because there are several states that cover it, but the rules are just so variable depending on where you live. So if you're interested in seeing if your area has this kind of help, you'll need to call your town hall or your county social services department. I recommend inquiring about general welfare, town or county welfare, or indigent funds. Those are usually the terms that we see used when discussing these particular programs. Now that's all we're going to cover in today's video, but like I said earlier, this list is not exhaustive. There are so many other resources out there that are available to help you. We have found grants for people in certain careers with certain medical needs, so on and so forth over the years, but those kind of require a more specific video or we would be here for hours. So if you have a specific situation that you'd like me to look into, whether that's, cancer grants or grants for people who have a history of working in a certain field or who have certain disabilities or whatever, feel free to drop that in the comments and we'll do our best to find what we can for you. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss out on any other resources, and I'll see you next time.